Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the production technology of mango. Right? We will study about the uh, mango cultivation and the problems associated with mango. So, firstly, the scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica. So, it belongs to genus Mangifera, which has nearly 40 species, but the edible one is only indica. So Mangifera indica is the scientific name of mango, and it belongs to family Anacardiaceae. And mango was originated from southern Asia, especially Myanmar and Assam state of India, right? And mango fruit is regarded as king of fruits, right? So it is known as king of fruit, and the tree is evergreen. Now talking about the production. So India is the largest producer of mango in the world, and India shares about 56% of total mango production in the world. And if we talk about India's food production, nearly 39.5% of total of mango is produced, right? So of the total food production, 39.5% is only mangoes production. And the total production is highest in Andhra Pradesh, and which is followed by Uttar Pradesh, and other countries which grow mango is grown. These are Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Gujarat. Right, so West Bengal and Gujarat together contribute for about 82% of total production of mango in India. Right, so the largest producer of mango in the world is India. Now, flower and fruit characteristics. So, if we're talking about the flower characteristics and fruit characteristics of mango, so flowers are born on the terminal panicles, right? So, terminally, flowers are born on the tree terminally in the form of panicles, and inflorescence is known as thymos, which is very rigid and erect. So, inflorescence of mango is rigid and erect, and this is known as thymos. And the flowers of mango fruit are very small, yellowish or pinkish in color, and flowers are of two types, staminate and hermaphrodite. So staminate flowers are male, they are known as male flowers, right? And these staminate flowers predominates. There are nearly 67 to 90% of the staminate flowers on the tree, whereas hermaphrodite flowers are very few, that is only 10 to 30% of the flowers are hermaphrodites. And the fruit of mango is known as a drupe, right? So fruit is known as drupe. And there are three parts of a fruit, that is skin, pulp, and stone. So skin part of the mango is known as epicarp, the pulp is known as pericarp, and stone is known as endocarp. So these are the three parts of a fruit, and fruit of mango is known as drupe, right? You can say the fruit type of mango is drupe. Now, important cultivars of mango. So there are so many varieties grown in the different states and in different countries. So we will talk about few important varieties of mango. The first one is Alfonso. Alfonso is a medium-sized variety, and it has a very attractive blush towards its basal end, and its pulp is firm. It is fiberless and with excellent orange color. Okay, so it has very good sugar acid blend. Keeping quality of Alfonso is good, and this variety Alfonso variety is susceptible to spongy tissue, right? So spongy tissue is a physiological disorder which is found in case of mangoes. So Alfonso variety is susceptible to spongy tissue. One other characteristics of Alfonso variety is that this variety has a great potential for export. So if we talk about the export of mangoes, so mostly Alfonso variety is exported to the other countries. Next variety is Bangan Pali. Bangan Pali is widely cultivated. It is a early maturing variety of mango in the South India. It is commercial variety of Andhra Pradesh. Fruit are large sized, nearly 350 to 400 grams per fruit. The weight of a fruit is 350 to 400 grams. Pulp is fiberless, firm and yellow with sweet taste, and fruits have good keeping quality. Next variety is Chausa. Chausa is a late maturing variety of North India, and it matures during July or the beginning of August. So it is very late variety, late maturing variety. Fruits are large, weighing about 350 grams each, and the fruits are bright yellow with soft and sweet pulp, and it is shy bearing. Shy bearing means bearing is not proper, right? So alternate bearing, you can say that sometimes in 1 year the fruit tree bear the fruit, but in the next year fruit doesn't bear the fruits, right? So it is a shy bearer. Next variety is the sherry. It is one of the most popular variety of North India, and it is a mid-season variety, right? So the sherry is the most popular variety of North India. Fruits of the cherry are medium sized with a pleasant flavor. The flavor is sweet, and this variety is fiberless, and the stone is thin, and keeping quality of the cherry is good. The next variety is Bombay Green. Bombay Green is one of the earliest variety of North India. Fruits are medium sized, weighing about 250 grams each, and the fruit have strong and pleasant flavor. Pulp is soft and sweet, right? So these are the few of varieties of mango which are grown in India. Next is soil and climate. So if we talk about soil, mango can be sown in different types of soils, but well drained sandy loam soils and deep soils are preferred for its cultivation, are best regarded as best for its cultivation, and mango fruits require slightly acidic soils for its cultivation. So pH of soil which is preferred by mango trees is 5.5 to 7, right? So slightly acidic soils are preferred for a mango cultivation. The soils which are selected for mango cultivation should be free from any hard pan, and there should not be any sticky clay, right? So if we talk about the climate, the fruit is a tropical fruit, and the ideal temperature for mango cultivation is between 24 to 27 degrees Celsius, and higher temperature at the time of fruit development and fruit maturity gives better quality of the fruits, right? So it requires higher temperature at the time of maturity, and at the time of flowering there should no any rain and frost, and heavy frost may kill even big trees, right? So it doesn't uh, tolerate frost, so frost can damage all the big trees, and at the time of flowering if frost or rain occurs, fruit bearing uh, affects badly. Now let us talk about the propagation methods. So mangoes are propagated both by sexual means or by asexual means. So there are two kind of varieties in mangoes. One is polyembryonic in nature, and the other is monoembryonic in nature. So firstly, let us talk about polyembryony. Polyembryonic means when a fertilized egg have more than two or three embryos in it, right? So when fertilized egg having more than two embryos in it, then it is known as polyembryonic varieties, and these polyembryonic varieties are true to type, and these polyembryonic varieties can be propagated through seed, right? Because these are true to type. And if we talk about monoembryonic varieties are those in which fertilized egg have only one embryo, right? And these are not true to type, so these varieties need to be propagated asexually, right? So polymbryonic varieties are mostly found in some countries like Philippines, right? And there the seed propagation is followed. And if we talk about the Indian varieties, most of the Indian varieties are monoembryonic in nature, and these are propagated asexually by grafting. Mostly the mango is propagated through grafting. So firstly we have to raise rootstock. When we talk about the propagation, asexual propagation, we have to raise rootstock, and then the sign or budwood is taken from the healthy mother plant, then it is inserted in it. So rootstocks are propagated sexually by seed, right? So seed is extracted from the fruits, and after extraction seed should be sown within 4 to 5 weeks, right? If we keep the seeds more than 4 to 5 weeks, then it will lose viability. So if we want that our fruits or seedlings can have maximum germination, then only 4 to 5 weeks after extraction we should sow the seed. So this rootstock is known as mango seedling or desi mango, right? And the seeds are sown on the seed beds or on the ground in the month of July to August. So best time of rootstock raising is July to August. And once these seedlings are sown, and when they come up with 2 to 4 leaves, and these are ready for transplanting after 6 to 12 months, right? Then there are a few methods of grafting which are followed in case of mango, right? So once we have to raise rootstock by using seed, and when the rootstock is raised, then we can follow the different grafting methods such as enarching, veneer or side grafting, and epicutile or stone grafting. And these methods of grafting can be done at different ages of the rootstock, right? So enarching is done in case of mango. It is most widely practiced method of the grafting, and we can get big size plant material for planting with over 95% success rate. So success rate in case of enarching is very high, nearly 95% success rate is there in case of enarching. And veneer and side grafting is also followed in case of mango. Uh, in veneer and side grafting, the planting material is getting from the mother plant, and we have to insert that sign with 2 to 3 buds in the rootstock. So these can be utilized for preparing a grafted plant material or for in situ grafting, right? So for the rootstock which are already planted, we have to do grafting on the rootstock which are already planted. And the third one is epicutile or stone grafting. So if we are going to follow stone grafting or epicutile grafting, then grafting is done within 8 to 5 days old seedlings, right? So when the seedlings are only 8 to 5 days old, then we can follow the epicutile or stone grafting. And this method is widely practiced in the Konkan region of Maharashtra, right? So grafting is done in case of mango, right? So propagation when we talk about the propagation, firstly rootstock is raised through seeds, and then on that rootstock sign is inserted by different methods, by enarching, by veneer and side grafting, and by epicutile or stone grafting. So these are the methods used for the propagation of mango. Then after we have inserted the sign in rootstock, then the plant starts to grow, okay? And the planting system that is followed in case of mango, it is a square system, and rectangular system or hexagonal system are also followed in some areas, right? And if we want high density mango plantation, amrapali amrapali is a variety of mango which is very dwarf in nature, right? So amrapali is a variety which is very dwarf in nature, and this variety can be can be sown, can be planted at a spacing of 2.5 by 2.5 meters. Okay, so and Amrapali variety can be chosen for high density mango plantation, right? And the planting time is August to September. So planting time of mango is August to September. And one important thing is that when we have to follow grafting or budding, we have to do grafting or budding in the months of August, September, July, August, September, right? Because in these months the cell sap flow is very good, and when there is cell sap flow is good, only at that time the cambium layers can unite well. Okay, so cambium layer of the rootstock as well as the sign have to unite properly, right? So they can unite properly only when the cell sap when the sap flow is very good in the plant. So sap flow is very good in the months of July, August, September. So grafting is done in those months, and planting again planting is done in the month of August and September. Then irrigation and manuring. So when we transplant our plants and once fruit set starts, so in monsoon season, we can irrigate the plants fortnightly. Okay, and for manuring, 100 kg of farmyard manure is added in August, September, and other fertilizers that are added, these are NPK, nitrogen at the rate of 1.5 kg, and this can be given in two doses. First half dose after harvesting of the mangoes, and other half in the February. And phosphorus at the rate of 500 grams after harvesting, and potassium at the rate of 500 gram after harvesting. So these nutrients can be supplied through different kind of fertilizers like urea, superphosphate, mirrors of potash, right? So these nutrients are added to the plants for their proper growth and development and proper fruit setting and high yielding. Then canopy management. In case of mango trees, you have seen that the mango trees are very bigger in size. So we need to manage their canopy. Canopy is the upper portion of the mango plants. So we need to manage the canopy so that the winds cannot break the fruit trees. Okay, so we need to manage the canopy, and if this canopy can be managed, then the light penetration inside the tree will be very good. The fruits can get all the can get the light properly, can get air properly, and the size of the fruits will be increased, and quality of fruits will be good. So canopy management in case of mango is very important, because size of tree is very large, and if we do not manage the canopy, then light penetration inside the in the inner branches of the mango will not be proper, right? So fruit size and fruit quality will not be very good if canopy is not managed. So to manage the canopy of mangoes, we have to do some operations like firstly we have to remove the rootstock, sprouts and low lying branches near the ground to facilitate easy cultural operations, right? So on the rootstock, if you see any sprout means any unnecessary branches which do not possess any fruit, right? So these branches need to be uh, removed. Okay, and low lying branches, the branches that are very near to ground, that make the cultural operations difficult, right? So these branches should be removed. Then remove all the overlapping, intercrossing, diseased, dried and weak branches in old trees to get good sunlight and aeration, right? So all the overlapping, crisscrossed branches, diseased branchings, dead wood, that should be removed. Carry out judicious pruning of the internal branches during August, September once in 3 years, right? So in 3 years, one time in 3 years, we have to do judicious pruning of the internal branches also. and do not allow flowering up to 3 years by removing the inflorescence as and when they appear. So in the first 3 years we should not allow any flowering on the plant, and we should remove that flowers, that inflorescence if they appear. Retain two healthy shoots by trimming away the weak shoots among the crowded terminal shoots during August September annually. So annually we have to retain only two healthy shoots in the term, if we talk about the terminal shoots, right? And prune back 20 centimeter of annual growth of the terminals immediately after harvest, right? So after harvesting, prune back all the terminals at 20 centimeters, right? So in this way we can manage the canopy, and fruits can get the sunlight properly. Next is top working of senile orchards for rejuvenation. So mango trees bear throughout its life, and it bears up to 30 years of its life, up to 40 years of its life. But after a period of 30 or 40 years, it the trees, the orchards decline, right? So if we do top working on those declined orchards or senile orchards, we can rejuvenate them, and these uh, trees can again bear the flowers, can again bear the fruits. So top working can be done in the old orchards or in senile orchards, right? So for top working, we have to use signs of the selected varieties such as of Alfonso or Banganpali for top working of the orchards, right? So top working means again in the we have to dehead all the trees to be top worked in during the July August months, and we have to leave only main trunk at a convenient height and allow for new shoots to develop. Okay, so deheading of the trees is done for top working, and only main trunk is left there, and from that main trunk again shoots will develop, and on those shoots cleft grafting is done, and signs are selected from some of the important varieties like Alfonso or Banganpali, and grafting is done on the emerging shoots on the main stem from the cut and during September October, right? So grafting is done, and from those shoots again the plant will develop and again it will start bearing the fruits, right? So in this way crop working is done in case of decline or senile orchards, and the rejuvenation of these orchards can be done by using some of the grafting methods such as softwood grafting or cleft grafting method, right? Next, there are some growth regulators which are used in case of mango orchards, which are sprayed on the mangoes so that we can handle or we can manage some of the problems in mangoes. So we can spray naphthalene acid at the rate of 20 ppm to induce flowering so that the fruit retention will be more. And during February, 0.5% urea or 1% potassium nitrate may be sprayed to induce flowering, and if trees do not flower by that time. And we can spray potassium nitrate at mustard size. This will increase the fruit set and retention of fruits. And paclobutrazole can be applied for the non-bearing trees during first fortnight of September, and it will induce the flowering and fruit set yield during off years, right? So you may already know that mango, some many varieties of the mango are alternate bearers. That means they bear fruit in the 1 year, and the next year is the off year for them, that they do not bear any fruit or very less fruit in the next year. So to manage that alternate bearing, we can spray paclobutrazole, we can spray naphthalene acetic acid so that it will induce the flowering and it will induce the fruit intention, right? Retention, right? So these are the growth regulators which are used or which are sprayed so that the alternate bearing in the mango can be managed. Now maturity indices. So in case of mango, maturity indices are the fruit shape. Fruit shape means in the initial few days or initial few months, the fruit shape is there are no cheeks, and when the fruits mature, the cheek there is fullness of the cheeks in case of mango. Skin color is also one of the major indices in case of mango. So skin color changes from the dark green to light green, right? And in some of the varieties have red color tone on their skin, but this cannot be used as to judge the fruit maturity. And change in flesh color from greenish yellow to orange. So at the time of maturity, the flesh color also changes from green to yellow and yellow to orange. So these all are the maturity indices. And one other natural fall of the mango from the trees, that is known as tapka, right? So this is also one of the maturity index of the mango. Next is harvesting. So harvesting in case of mangoes is mostly done manually or by using a bamboo pole which is having a hook on it, and the fruits are allowed to drop in the baskets, right? So fruits should never be knocked down from the trees, and they should never allowed to drop down or thrown on the ground, because the fruits will get injured if they will be thrown on the ground, right? So uh, harvesting should be done in early morning or late in the evening, because if we harvest the fruit in noon, at the time of noon, then the temperature is very high at that time, and the fruits will lose water at that time, right? So at the time of harvesting, stalk is kept with the fruits, right? So 1 to 2 centimeter length stalk is retained with the fruits. It will reduce the latex exudation, staining of or fungal entry, right? So there is a latex exudation from the mangoes. You all of you may know that there is some sap flows from the mango fruits, that is known as latex exudation. So to avoid that latex exudation, we have to keep the stalk with the fruit. Never place the harvested fruit directly on the ground. Place the fruits in clean, shallow plastic crates and keep the harvested fruits in cool place away from the direct sunlight. Then after picking and after keeping the fruits, we have to do grading. So grading should be carried out in the field to remove any immature, undersized, damaged, bruised or scarred or ripe fruits, right? So grading is done for sorting and grading. So sorting and grading is done to remove the rotten and diseased fruits, to remove the overripe fruits, to remove the insect attacked fruits, to remove any misshapen fruits, and sorting should be done before washing. So this operation should be done before washing. So after grading and sorting, the next is packaging. So packaging of fruits is done in different kind of packaging materials, right? So there are some functions of the packaging. These are to assemble the produce and to protect the produce from the high temperature or from the insect pest, from the microbial attack, right? So the main function of packaging is to assemble the produce and to protect the produce. So an ideal package should have sufficient mechanical strength. These packaging materials should not contain any toxic chemicals. These should meet all the handling and marketing requirements. Uh, the package should allow the rapid cooling of its contents, and it should be easily disposable or recycled, and the material should be as cheap as possible, right? So packaging material should be cheap in nature. Then transportation to the pack house. Sorry, before that, transportation from orchard to pack house, right? So transport carefully in clean vehicles without exposing to sun. Avoid transporting in loose, and take care while loading, transporting and unloading of the crates. After that, in the pack house, packaging is done, and the packaging functions, and ideal package what are the requirements of an ideal package we have discussed. Now storage. So optimum temperature for storage is different for mature green mangoes as well as for ripe mangoes. So for mature green mangoes, the ideal temperature for storage is 13 degrees Celsius, and for ripe mangoes or partially ripe mangoes, we can store the ripe mangoes at 10 degrees Celsius, right? So optimum relative humidity should be 90 to 95%, and the mangoes are ripened with the help of ethylene, right? So once mangoes are harvested, these have to be ripened by using ethylene. So exposure to 100 ppm ethylene for 12 to 24 hours at 20 to 22 degrees Celsius is done, and then ethylene and at 90 to 95% relative humidity, it will result in accelerated and more uniform ripening of mangoes within 5 to 9 days, right? So 100 ppm of ethylene is used, and fruits are kept for 12 to 24 hours under ethylene, and the temperature should be 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity should be 90 to 95%, and it will help for the uniform ripening of mangoes. Next are the some problems that are associated with the mango fruit. So firstly we will talk about the insects. So many insects attack on the mango fruit. So some of those insects are mango hopper or leaf hopper, you can say. Okay, so mango hoppers suck the sap from the leaves and panicles. So in this figure you can see these leaves and panicles. So mango hoppers attack on the leaves and panicles, that are the inflorescence, and they suck the sap from these areas. And the most serious damage of mango hopper can be seen in high density orchards, right? So pre-blossoming spray can be done in the month of mid-December to late January to control mango hoppers. Then mango mealybug. Mango mealybug is the major insect of mango. The nymphs of the female insect suck sap from the panicles and leaves. Again, the insect, female insects, nymph of the female insect will suck the sap from the leaves as well as from the inflorescence. These mango mealybugs crawl up the tree during February and feed there until May, right? So the attack of the mealybug is from February to May. Then as the temperature rises, they climb down and find shelter in cracks in the soil and die there, right? So their main period of the damage from the mealybug is from February to May. The female is filled with eggs which hatch next year and again cause damage. So control is possible only through a series of systematic efforts, like destruction of eggs during November-December by putting the slippery bands or sticky bands on the main stem to stop their crawling on the tree, and dusting and spraying of insecticides during various stages of insect activity, right? So mango mealybug can be managed by following all these practices, like destruction of their eggs during November, December, then use of slippery bands on the trunk or main stem of the trees so that the nymphs cannot crawl on the tree, and dusting or spraying of the insecticides during the different stages of insect activity. Next is stem borer. Stem borer again cause the damage by bore into the fruits or by bore into the stems. Sorry, fruit, no, stem borer. So it bore in the stems. So we can control stem borer by padding with monocrotophos, and absorbents can be used, right? Then fruit fly. So fruit fly also attack on the mango fruits, and to control the fruit fly, plow the interspaces to expose pupae and monitor with methyl eugenol traps, and remove the fallen fruits now and then and bury them into the soil. So all the fallen fruits should be collected and they should be buried in the deep into the soil, right? Next, there are few diseases, and among them, anthracnose is the most important disease of mango. So it is a fungal disease, and Chausa variety. Chausa variety of mango is more prone to anthracnose. The severity increases with the rains. Severity of anthracnose increases with the rains. The anthracnose damage the leaves, twigs, panicles, and fruits. Right. So this disease affects all the parts of the plant. It affects the leaves. Here you can see in the picture that leaves are affected, panicles, inflorescence are also affected with the anthracnose, and fruits are also affected from the anthracnose. So to control anthracnose disease, we can use copper-based fungicides, right? Next disease is powdery mildew. It is again one of the most important disease in case of mango. It is a fungal disease, and this disease, that is powdery mildew, it damage the fruit trees or fruit orchards when there is warm and humid weather, and it attacks the inflorescence and cause purplish color with sprinkling of white fungus. There is purplish color on the inflorescence with sprinkling of white fungus. Inflorescence dry out and flowers drop without fruit setting, right? So if there is an attack of powdery mildew, the inflorescence of the fruits will be dry out and flowers will be dropped before any fruit setting. And to control powdery mildew, we can spray Bordex mixture during blooming period. Next, these are some of the physiological disorders in mango. So, mango malformation is one of the major disorder that is found in case of mango, and mango malformation is of two types: vegetative malformation as well as reproductive. So, vegetative type uh, attack on the leaves, on the twigs of the mango trees, and the flowers will be there will be bunchy tops of the leaves. And if we talk about a reproductive type of mango malformation, it will affect the panicles, right? And malformed branches show stunted growth with small and bunchy leaves. The leaf size will be reduced and those leaves will be bunchy. And this disorder is also called as bunchy top. The cause is not yet known, but some of the viruses, fungi, mites, and deficiency of some of the elements have been considered as possible causes, right? So major cause of this malformation has not been discovered yet, but it is a combination of many of the uh, viruses, fungi, mites, deficiency of elements, right? And to reduce this disorder, to manage this disorder, good management practices should be followed so that this problem can be solved to some extent. And de-blossoming can be done, as well as spray of 200 ppm naphthalene acetic acid can be done to lower the number of malformed panicles significantly, right? So we can uh, control this by de-blossoming the plants or by spraying naphthalene acetic acid. Next is alternate bearing. Alternate bearing means fruit trees bear the fruit in the one year and in next year there is a off year. So the factors which are affecting it are environmental, physiological, and genetic, right? So there is no any one single factor which affects the alternate bearing. There are a number of factors which have effect on this. Okay, so these factors are environmental, physiological, and genetic. Environmental factors like frost, heavy rains, hail, diseases, insect attack at blooming time, These may cause heavy damage. And imbalance in the carbohydrate nitrogen ratio, deficiency of certain minerals, more shoot growth in 1 year and less in the next year, old age of the tree, and low intensity of blooming. These all are the physiological factors, right? So if we talk about the genetic, so some of the varieties like Langara, Totapuri, Romani, Fazli, Neelam, Calipart, these bear regularly, while all the commercial varieties, other some varieties, they have biennial bearing habits. Improved cultural practices including de-blossoming, bringing and girdling, control of pest diseases, they are helpful in lessening the problem. And paclobutrazole is a promising chemical for flower induction in mango in the off years, right? So paclobutrazole can be sprayed to induce flowering in case of mango. Then next one is black tip. Black tip disorder is mainly noticed in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and West Bengal. And if there is a if we can found this problem, so we can see that distal end of the fractal fruits turn black and it becomes hard. The fruits ripen prematurely and become unmarketable. This disorder is caused by the smoke of brick kilns located within a distance of 600 meters. So this disorder is caused because when the orchards are near a brick kiln, right? So the smoke from the brick kilns cause this disease in the nearby orchards. And the gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and acetylene, these gases are produced from the smoke of brick kilns, and these cause these symptoms of black tip. And this can be controlled by raising the height of chimneys of the brick kilns. So if there are brick kilns near the orchards, we can reduce their effect by raising the height of their chimneys, right? And we can also spray borax at the rate of 0.6% at 10 to 14 days interval starting from the fruit set. It will control the black tip. Then there is other disorder known as clustering or dhumka. So panicles will give an appearance of bunch tip. There will be a appearance of bunch tip in case of panicles, or because of inflorescence, that will known as dhumka. These fruitlets are dark green with deeper curve in the sinus beak region compared with normally developing fruitlets. These fruitlets grow to marble size, after which their growth ceases. So the size of the fruits will not be increased. One of the main reasons for clustering is the adverse climate during February-March, particularly the low temperature, right? So if there is low temperature prevails in the months of February-March, the clustering will be seen in case of mangoes. Most of the fruits are aborted with shriveled embryos and do not develop further, signifying the role of normal embryo growth in the development of the fruits. And the next physiological disorder is spongy tissue. So spongy tissue is specific in Alfonso mango. So Alfonso is the variety which is most susceptible to spongy tissue, right? So fruits from the outside they look normal, but inside there is a patch of flesh that becomes spongy, yellowish, and sour. This disorder has brought down the export of this variety, right? So because of this disorder, the export of this variety has also dropped. Inactivation of ripening enzyme due to high temperature, convective heat, and post-harvest exposure to sunlight are the causes of spongy tissue, right? So these are the main causes of spongy tissue, like the inactivation of ripening enzyme due to high temperature, convective heat, and post-harvest exposure to sunlight, right? These are the major causes of spongy tissue. So to reduce the incidence of spongy tissue, we can use sod culture and mulching, right? Mulching in the orchard can be followed to reduce the incidence of spongy tissue. Mango hybrids like Ratna and Arka Puneet, which have Alfonso-like characters, they can be planted because they do not suffer from this malady, right? So as Alfonso is more susceptible to spongy tissue, so we can grow Ratna or Arka Puneet instead of Alfonso variety, right? And harvesting mangoes when they are 3/4 matured rather than fully matured. This will also reduce this malady, right? So we want to reduce the incidence of spongy tissue. We have to harvest the mangoes when they are only 3/4 matured, and they should not be fully matured, right? So this is all regarding the problems associated with mango and the cultivation practices that are followed in case of mango, right? So thank you so much. Have a nice day.